Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to Tea Time Tuesday. We're so excited that you all are here. We're thankful for all of our tea timers out there. We're just sitting there enjoying the beautiful music. We hope that you are enjoying your afternoon, and we hope that you are having a great day and a great week so far. We're excited that you have taken the time to join us here at the Renewal Center for Tea Time Tuesday. Hello, Monique. It's good to see you, and good afternoon to you, too. I'm telling you, I'm looking outside at the beautiful sunny day out there. I just am just enraptured by the sunshine today. It's just really nice. And what a great way to actually kick off our Tuesday afternoon here at Tea Time Tuesday, where we're stopping to pause, we're stopping to take time to reset and to foster and build resilience. And that's just across the board, just for us to take time on a Tuesday afternoon. And then also on the 4th Thursdays of every month, we do our Tea Time Tuesday at 7 p.m. So we want you to like and share. We want you to invite your friends, your family, your colleagues, let them know Tea Time is on the air. And we're so excited that you are joining us today because we have a great I would say a great Tea Time Tuesday that's lined up for you today with our renewal practices. And I am so excited because, first of all, before I forget, don't forget to share that we are streaming live over there at YouTube on our YouTube channel. And for those of you that like YouTube, share it with others so that they can like and subscribe that and find out more information about what we're doing here at the Renewal Center. So without further delay, I want to just go into our awarenesses this month. We have 2 great awarenesses for the month of April. And did you know that April is actually National African American Women's Fitness Month? We started that last week. We actually kicked that off last week with that awareness, and how appropriate both of the awarenesses we're going to talk about. National African American Women's Fitness Month, and then it's National Stress Awareness Month, kind of going hand in hand there. And so we want to start off with our first national awareness, which is raising awareness to, educate African American women how important it is for us to stay fit, how important it is for us to stay active and live a healthy life. And so there are great ways to observe this awareness this particular month. So you want to stay informed, and you want to do great things that's going to foster that, to help you become more active and more healthy as an African American woman. And so we want to get our viewers up. So go ahead and share. We want to get more people here in our Tea Time community today. Go ahead and share with other people and let them know that we are streaming live. And with Stress Awareness Month, there's so much going on in our world today around us. And this is a way for us to recognize and bring awareness to the factors of negative stress and how that impacts our lives, and how to manage stress, and promoting healthy lifestyle, just like the other awareness we just talked about. So we can do great, we can have great different ways of helping us foster more healthy lifestyle and healthy living. And we can do that through both of these awarenesses, observing both of these awareness this particular month in April. Not just in April, but this is a great time to zero in on some ways that we can actually build ourselves up and become more healthy individual. Okay, and so without further delay, let's talk about our book of the week. I think I love our book of the week. Our book of the week is right here at the Renewal Center, Praying Through Every Emotion, Experiencing God's Peace, No Matter What. And that's by Linda Everett Shepherd. And, this goes hand in hand with both of the awarenesses that we're talking about, reducing stress and those type of things, and really zeroing in on our emotions. I'm going to give you a little bit of a summary of this book. And it says, powerful prayers for how you're feeling right now. Our emotions, impact every moment of our lives. We feel deeply, and at times our emotional responses to our situations seem overwhelming, whether it's disappointment at an opportunity that's missed, grief, anxiety, or joy when we go through big life changes, or uncertainty when we face a situation outside of our control. We can take these feelings to God immediately in prayer. and he will give us peace, comfort, and clarity. So, it says your emotions are a gift from God, and he uses them to help you grow both closer to him and more fully into the person he created you to be. So when you have an opportunity and you stop by the Renewal Center and our thought room, you can actually pick up this book and read it, Praying Through Every Emotion, Experiencing God's Peace No Matter What. And that's by Linda Evans Shepherd. And so let's move into our tea of the week. Our tea of the week is a tea that I actually like. I think you may like it too. We've had this tea featured on Tea Time Tuesday before, and it is cherry blossom tea. So cherry blossom tea is the Japanese name for that is, I hope I say this correctly, Sachukara or Sachukarka, something like that. But nevertheless, that means Japanese blossom tea. It's a very flavorful tea. It's a herbal tea that's made from the cherry blossom flowers. It's steeped in either black tea or green tea, and it's very fruity, kind of like a cherry taste there. And you can add your sweetener of choice and enjoy it. So I'm just excited about cherry blossom tea. And so we're going to go ahead on with our time of just, locating ourselves. And so while we're doing that, once again, we want to get our viewers up today. So if you would please go ahead and share with others and let them know we are streaming live. Actually, we want to go ahead and position ourselves for an opportunity of locating ourselves. And that means we're calming down for a minute and just relaxing ourselves and do some deep breathing. Sometimes we've been doing a lot of writing and all of those things, and we've been sitting in the chair for a long time. So let's just take a minute and do some deep breathing for our locating ourselves. Okay. Thank you. I hope you enjoyed that scenic view. As I was relaxing my shoulders, I was taking in the view, which is just so beautiful, kind of put me there. You guys give me some hearts and some thumbs up if you felt the same thing I felt. It just kind of took you there to a nice quiet place of just being relaxed and locating where you are. Good afternoon, Nicole. It's so good to see you today. And I see that our executive director, Patrick J. Brown, is watching this morning. I'm going to bring on our director of digital renewal and stewardship, Hoti Melton. She's going to take us into our Tea Time Tuesday practices today. And while she's coming in, go ahead and let us know what tea you're drinking.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, and welcome to Tea Time Tuesday. Excited to be here with all of you. Hope that you have liked and shared this broadcast, and that you have your tea time journals ready to take notes. And I see you already over there, Carmela.
I
Hey.
am ready. I got a new journal this time. I'm
A
ready.
new one, okay. Very good. By with everything that we share, we probably fill the journals up, and then we
Yeah.
have to get a new one for tea time
Yeah.
and tea time practices. So, good afternoon to everyone out there. Just want to welcome you to tea time. This has been great. If you can go ahead and share your tea that you're having this afternoon, or your drink of choice, if it's coffee, tea, or water, go ahead and share with us. I see Living by Faith is having orange spice. Oh,
Nice.
wow.
That's
That
nice.
is great. Yeah, I love the spice. That's good. All right, then Nicole Pinella's having coffee.
Coffee.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Good old coffee. I know that'll get us going in the morning. All right. And But his says, having good afternoon. Good afternoon and welcome to Tea
Welcome.
Time. We want to welcome all of you to Tea Time.
Yes.
If you have been on Tea Time before, or if this is your first time coming to Tea Time, it's the community where we pause, reset, and build resilience. And this is what we represent here at the Renewal Center. So just
Yeah.
want to welcome you all on. Carmela, did you want to stay on with me today, or did you want me to bring you back in?
I'll stay on today.
Good,
Yes.
great, great. I'm excited. Okay, good. Glad to have you on. It's always good to have us on together and just hear some of your viewpoints as well. See some comments coming in. I see peppermint tea.
Peppermint.
All right. That's one of my favorites. All right. Chilled black coffee. All right.
Oh,
Thank you for
like
that.
that.
All right. And good afternoon, Crushing Chemo. All right. Good afternoon and
Yes.
welcome, welcome, welcome. So we're just going to go ahead and jump right in to our tea time subject this afternoon. And as we were speaking, we were talking about this being Stress Awareness Month here, Stress Awareness Month, April Stress Awareness Month. And so thinking about that, Carmela, I was wondering, just how we live in our life and the things that we go through. I even talked to you a little bit about it and talk to someone else just about taking that time for ourselves is so important to make sure that we are having an environment that's cultivating where
Yeah.
those stresses of everyday life is down. So today we're going to be talking about making yourself a priority. And I know there's the talk about self-care and different things like that, which is really good. But we're talking about actually the time to put in that intentional time. And I say the word intentional because we have to be intentional, Carmela, and our tea time audience about making time for ourselves because we live in such a busy and productive society and community where everything is on the go, right?
That's
Everything is fast paced. Everything is, you're going from here to there. You're loaded with back to back meetings, and you're loaded with, your mom and family duties, the little ones, grandchildren. If you're married, whatever those particular roles that we function in, we function in them every day. And so being that this is Stress Awareness Month, we want to talk about making yourself a priority. And sometimes I realize sometimes we don't make ourselves a priority. We make everyone else and everything that we do a priority. And we know here, tea time is a time to pause, reset, and build resilience. So we're taking that time to pause, when we took those deep breaths to locate ourselves. And this is going to be a point that today, as we're moving forward, we're going to reset ourselves. So, as far as making ourselves a priority. So, I would love the engagement for our Tea Time community. Our community, we engage together with
yes.
comments. Please go ahead and comment and just tell me, just share with us why is making yourself a priority? Why is it important? All right. So, taking time for yourself. All right. So I'm going to go ahead. Give me one moment. And I'm just going to let you guys just share what why is it important to take time for yourselves. I'm just going to put some things in here that I just want to share with you this afternoon about taking time for yourself. All right. So here we're going to talk about what is the best way to take time for yourself, okay? And then we're just going to talk about just if you can share what are some ways that is taking time for yourselves, okay? I just want you to go ahead and put that in the chat. Give you a moment to think, give you a moment to actually journal that down. And before we even go any further, we're going to talk about what does taking time for yourself really mean? What
Mhm.
does that really mean when you're taking time for yourself? And so I mentioned the word being intentional. Okay, so we understand that taking time for ourselves means that we're setting aside time and we're being conscious of time that we set aside. This should be time that we spend with ourselves, or sometimes meant for us to be alone. Sometimes we need that time to set aside to kind of reflect, kind of think about different things. Carmela, if you want to chime in, you can. You can go ahead and share. Carmela, what does it mean to take time for yourself? What is your definition of what it means to take time for yourself?
Yeah, that's a big thing for me. And quality time for me is not just, I'm not saying quality time, excuse me, taking the time out for this time of self prioritization. It means quality. It means pouring back out of yourself, because if you don't, like I always say, you cannot, I know everyone has heard that cliche, you cannot pour out of an empty vessel. And
Mhm.
sometimes when you get to a place when you're just doing so much and doing this and that, you sometimes get a place where you're not focusing on your needs. And
Mhm.
I believe that it's okay. It's okay to have that time just for yourself, not just for reflection, but time to be giving yourself self compassion. Self care is
Right.
not just the nails or
Mm.
it's
Right.
everything. And so when
Mhm.
you take time out as a priority, you're telling yourself, I matter. I
Mhm.
matter. I matter enough to set an environment that speaks to me. I care enough to set aside a time that's just for me. And
Mhm.
that way, when you're building yourself up, then you'll be in a place a healthy place where you can build up someone else. So
That's right.
that's my version of when you say, having that time of prioritizing your time for yourself.
That's good. I like that you said prioritizing because it has to become a priority and not a last thing. And so when I think
Mhm.
of taking care of ourselves, I think
Yeah,
of mind, body, and soul.
the
And
whole thing.
totality, the whole thing holistically of taking care of ourselves and making that time. Now, what taking care of ourselves is not just catching up on chores or the to-do list or things like that. It's just putting aside some time that we can
Yes.
truly spend time on our own doing what we want to do, okay?
Mhm.
And not what everyone else thinks that we should be doing. But this is a time for you, and we know
Right.
that we're not this is how you continue to build resilience. Kind of like what Carmela was saying, you can't pour from an empty vessel. You can't pour out to others if you're not, refilling for yourselves.
That's
And I
right.
see a comment that has come in. All right. Scheduling time to meet your needs, like self love, doing the things you enjoy,
Yeah.
or bring forth fulfillment. Thank you so much for sharing that. That is very good. And that's basically kind of what taking time for yourself means. It's putting aside that time to truly spend time with yourself, to do the things that you like. Maybe even some different self-care things that you like to do. So it has to be implemented and it has to be intentional. And so we're bringing awareness to this today because even as I was even looking and reading some articles, Carmela, and looking at some things just a few days ago, it was saying that the stresses are at an all-time high, and that people are the work-life balance, is hard, and then functioning and doing things, and it's just bringing people to be at a place where they're tired
Yeah.
or at a point. And this is important because I'll tell you, I use myself in a transparency. I realize, like, when I do take time for myself, how much I really, really needed it. Because when
Mhm.
you finally do it, you're like, and I need more of this. So that's kind of what drove to do today's subject, is to understand that, that feeling of I need to do this more. I need to make myself a priority in spending time with myself. I see a comment that's come in. I take what I call still away moments. I also host a monthly meeting for women titled Me Time Chats. It's a time for women to make time for ourselves as well as fellowship.
That's
It's
great.
twofold. That's absolutely great and that's promoting that
Mhm.
taking time for yourselves, because really, you know what, taking time for ourselves also, we're able, once we do that, to continue to build up others, to be able to function and to be able to continue to keep and create a healthy balance.
That's right.
Okay. A healthy balance. So I like what you said. You said still away moments. You just have to steal that moment away and just say, hey, I'm going to set aside this time. Did you want to add anything to that, Carmela?
I'm just sitting here reflecting because that's one of the biggest things I love to advocate, and that is taking time out for yourself. If you don't, if you don't take the time out for yourself, Well, you can't expect other people to make you do it.
Mhm.
So, being transparent, we can run our engine and our personal engines complete, just ongoing and ongoing. And, we become burnt out.
Yeah,
We become
that's
burnt
really
out, and
mhm.
days become weeks and weeks become months. And we're like, when's the last time I took time out for myself?
Mm,
When you allow yourself that time, and like you said, when you're intentional about that time,
mhm.
you find out what's good for you, then you're able to pour back into yourself, which is
Yeah.
so important these days. We got so much going on around
So
us that we
much,
have to get
yeah.
get back to ourselves sometime.
Yeah. And that's good that you mentioned that. And I'll also say this, and I don't know if anyone else has ever dealt with this as well. Like having the time, like when I'm taking time for myself, sometimes I have the urge to be productive instead. It's like
Mhm.
I have to tell myself, okay, mentally, be still, because I'll start thinking of something else. And so what we
Mhm.
have to do is we have to create and make it a habit, okay, of truly
Mhm.
taking time for ourselves. I was just allowing myself to exist without having to get anything done. I will
Mhm.
have to tell myself, okay, it's okay to sit still and not do something. It's okay that not think about, okay, I need to wash, I need to do this, I need to straighten this up or do that. It's okay to be intentional and create an environment where I don't feel I have to be productive in moments where I'm trying to truly take time for myself. And that's just allowing myself to be and allow myself to be and exist with not having that urge to have anything done and
That's
really taking time for myself is being productive. Okay. It's being productive to my well being, it's being productive to my health, and just taking the time to sit still. I see we have some comments that are coming in. Thank you so much. This is great food for thought. Thank you so much, Monique. Living by Faith every day says, I used to be the queen of burnout. It's actually how I learned the hard way how important taking time for myself truly is. Thank you so much for sharing that. Thank you so much for being transparent. And like you just said, Carmela, that burnout. All right, I see Executive Director Patrick says, sit still and not do something. That's wisdom.
yes.
And I tell you, thank you for sharing that, Patrick, because that
Yes.
was something I had to literally practice. Carmela, I would have to, when I'm sitting still, my mind would be going and it would,
Mhm.
sometimes even watching a movie when I'm trying to, and it's like, it'll go, okay, you need to get up. And sometimes I would actually stop and start doing
Mhm.
something. And I had to tell myself in moments of just reflection, it's
Yeah.
okay, relax. It'll get done. Just relax and take this moment for you. Thank you so much for sharing that. Monique says our society has created a nonstop sense of being for children and adults. It has.
Mhm.
Thank you for sharing that. We just live in an environment, we live in a culture here that everything is on the go. Everything is quick. Even when people are, everything is quick. We got to get here quick. We got to go quick. And there's just not that time. And as we do here at Tea Time,
That's
it's a
right.
cultivating environment where we slow down, we pause, literally pause, take time to reset, and then we build resilience with it. So thank you so much. This has been great. Thank you everyone for your comments. I see Monique has another comment. It's okay to have time for quiet reflection and solitude. Thank you
Yes.
so much. And the older I get, the more I appreciate my quiet time. I appreciate solitude. I know you do, Carmela, as well. Just that
Mhm.
time to just sit and really sit and reflect. All right, so that's great. So we understand why what does taking time for ourselves, what does that really mean to us as well. So it is okay to take time for yourself. We have to sometimes tell ourselves, like I was saying, I had to tell myself it's okay,
It's
it's
okay.
okay to take time for myself, so that within itself it was something that I had to really implement into my life, like it's okay, and tell myself. And I want you all to share and engage with me. Why is it okay to take time for ourselves? And as we know, there's a lot going on in everyone's life. We have work, like you were saying, Carmela, everything that we're doing. And so we have to have that time. You can go ahead and share, Carmela, if you have any points about, it's okay to take time for yourself, because I know you're really involved in doing this and that you do practice this.
Yeah, one of the things, it's different to say, you say, I'm going to take time for myself, but do you really? It's like a challenge that you want to challenge yourself. Okay, if I'm going to take time for myself, how am I going to do that? And does your calendar reflect that? I mean,
Mhm.
really, because our calendars reflect so many other things, I mean, really. So sometimes when I think about that, I put Carmela on the schedule. I put Carmela on the schedule. Find a day, find some part of your week that is just for you, so that you can regroup. And then you know how you feel after you've regrouped, even if you're not doing anything and you're allowing yourself to just be, you know
Mm.
imagine how refreshed you feel, how refueled you feel. And one of the things I like about this is when you're taking time out for yourself is you find all different kind of other things that you can explore about how to do that. What does that look like for me? That might just really mean some candles, that might really mean some aromatherapy, or that might really mean that walk outside,
Mhm.
or just sitting on the porch, or gardening, or whatever it is. What does that mean, to me? And then being intentional about putting myself on that calendar.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, that's very important what you said. Putting yourself on the calendar. Come on, take that down in your tea time journals. Putting yourself on that calendar, making yourself a priority. I tell you, Carmela, for me, it's the moments of nothing. I mean, not a
Mm,
TV, not a sound, not a radio. As much as I love music, it's just those moments where it's just sitting still. Sometimes, like even on my couch or love seat, or in my place of comfort, and just sitting still, kind of closing my eyes, taking those deep breaths. And
mm,
these things can be done throughout the day. When I have, when I sometimes, even after I get out of a meeting or something, I'll take a moment, a still away moment, and just sit there in quiet and peace and kind of gather myself. That is also a refilling moment for me. And so even when we're allowing ourselves to take time for ourselves, we have to, understand that this is meant just for me and only me. And this
mm.
is a very vital step in taking care of yourself, that's setting that time aside. I see that we have some comments that's come in here. All right. Patrick says research shows that people who are comfortable with time alone experience increased happiness and better stress management. That is very good. Thank you so much for that, Key. That is research there, that spending time alone and how important that it is. All right, Crushing Chemo says it's okay to take time for me because I matter to me. That's
Yes,
good. That's right. I matter to me. All right.
absolutely.
Thank you so much for sharing. Living in Faith says, I had to realize Christ pulled away from everything to renew and refresh, and that it's necessary for me as well. That's
Mm,
right. It's
yes,
necessary for us to take those me moments and that me time. It's not a place of selfishness. Again, in these moments of solitude, in these moments, you're refilling your mind, body, and soul. And it says here, Patrick is saying it sparks creativity because your mind can wander and wander to spark new ideas.
yes, yes.
Absolutely. That is good. And I experience that in those quiet moments when I shut everything down, when I get off of the phone, when I shut off the phone from the social media and things of that nature to do that. I see Crushing Chemo has a comment is again. Absolutely. There are times where doing just nothing is exciting for me. I understand. And I
Yes.
tell you, Carmela, when I go on a vacation or I get away, I sleep in. And
Hmm.
I appreciate the quiet time. I appreciate just
Yes,
the nothing of anything.
yes,
All right, Patrick has a comment. Increases your emotional intelligence. You
yes.
have more time to reflect on yourself and become self-aware. And thank you so much for sharing that. You can't pour from an empty cup. Time for yourself refills you. Thank you so much to our executive director, Patrick, who shared these comments here this afternoon. Thank you all for sharing this because all of these points are important in understanding that we are taking care of ourselves. And so this is great. Like she said, it's exciting, right? All right. It's exciting to be able to take time for ourselves. So I wanted to for you guys to chime in a little bit more. What is the best way to take time for yourself? What is the best way to take time for yourself? Carmela, do you have any ideas or anything about some ways the best way to take time for yourself, or what do you do as far as what you do to take time for yourself in the best way?
Well, sometimes for me, I'm just real simple. I mean, for me, and whatever works really for you. But for me, I'm a water person. So for me, I like to be by the water. There's, nearby where I live, there's little lakes and ponds and things like that I can go to. It's easily accessible. I take my book. I like to read. Sometimes I like to craft. Sometimes I like to just listen to bossa nova music,
Yeah.
listen, do affirmations, or just sometimes I like to just sit at home and watch some things that are really engaging. That's quiet, like some things on like Discovery or DIYs, or just for me, it's just what works for you. And sometimes we don't know what works for us if we don't spend time with ourselves to find out what we really like. And so
Right.
when you're spending time with yourself, you get a chance to find out what things that you're really what attracts you, what relaxes you,
Uh-huh.
and what builds you up. So if I would encourage anyone today, find out what it is that brings peace and serenity to your surroundings, and do that. You don't necessarily have to go outside of your home. If you can go in your patio or your balcony, or
Mhm.
if things like that. Find out what really works for you and implement it all the time. you
That's
know
very good.
Reward yourself.
That's very good. That's I'm glad that you said it. You said implement, and that's really good. Implement for me. It's expressing my own needs, like
Right.
expressing what I need. So it's no one else's responsibility to guess what I need, right? And so when I
Exactly.
take that time for myself, then I can go ahead in that free time that I'm alone. This helps me to be able to express what I need, which gives me great, basically a more healthier mental health state. Okay, so then sometimes I have to let people know, hey, I'm taking time for myself. That's the boundaries. Maybe I'm not taking calls, or I'll give you a call back later. You don't have
Yeah.
to go into explaining, but just letting people know that be intentional about that time. Because again, expressing my needs, it's no one else's responsibility to guess what I need. It's up to me. And for me to understand what I need, I have to take that alone time for myself to be able to take that time to do so. And so, even in that, I see some comments that are coming in. I'm going to go ahead and share that here. Close your door.
I love it. I love that.
Simple and to the point. Close the
Yes.
door. Thank you so much for sharing that, Patrick. Turn off the phone. Thank you so much for sharing. Simple. It's just those little things that we think are little are major in gaining that alone time and that peace. Nicole Pinnell says sometimes the best thing to do is nothing. I travel a lot, and first thing I do is find a body of water, get a cup of coffee, and just sit for hours. It's therapy. It absolutely is. It
Yeah.
is very, very, very peaceful. Absolutely. All right. Crushing Chemo says, yes, Pastor Carmela, I'm a water person too. Love the sound of waterfall, river flowing, or the water splashing. I
Yes.
love hearing water too. Being that I grew up off of the lake, you get eat that water, you can hear that water, or the
Mm.
time that I will go and just sit there and just hear the
Yes.
water and just sit on that bench and hear that water coming in from the lake. All right. Thank you so much for sharing that. Living in faith every day says the best way for me is to do my sister calls, normal things like catch a movie or go hear a live band. She says, I'm not normal.
Oh
All
no.
right. No, that's absolutely great. All right. I see Patrick Brown has a comment. He says, block out me time
Mhm.
every week. That
Yeah.
I do that. I do that. Absolutely. Thank you so much for sharing that there. So is there any time that I'm gonna say this that sometimes because I've experienced this where you're taking that time, I in previous, I don't anymore, where you will feel guilty about taking time for yourself. You will feel like something needs to be done, something needs to be done. Have you ever experienced that before, Carmela, in past or where you just have that feeling of, oh, I should be doing this, but I'm here kind of relaxing?
Uh, in all honesty, no, I kind of like my time of, that time of, just being alone and getting time for myself. But there has been time I could, to glean from what you're saying, there has been time where I felt like, oh gosh, I should have been doing this. I should have been doing that. I should have been doing that. And, it's not the guilty feeling, but it's more or less, well, maybe I should just redirect my time somewhere else. And
Mhm,
and then you just don't validate yourself.
mhm,
You don't
mhm.
validate yourself because you're so busy trying to do everything else. So I
Right.
can understand that piece of guilt, and then when you do take time for yourself, like, oh, I could have been doing something else. But I think if we get to that place, there's a place that we
Oh,
need to get to a point of validation and of saying it's okay that I do this and not feel guilty doing self care for ourselves or time
right.
out for ourselves.
Yeah. So what I used to do, and I'm glad you shared that. For me, what I used to do, because I there's so much things that is going on that need to be done, I began to journal about it, and I began to dig deeper into why those feelings were there at times. I don't have that anymore. Okay.
Mhm.
But it would be times where I would just do that part. And I'm a big journaler. So what I would do is I would journal about it, write down every reason behind the way I'm feeling. Then I would dig deeper and ask myself, is this feeling actually true? Is this actually validated? Is this actually a must? When I began to do those things, that helped me to break through. And I don't experience that either more. I'm very intentional about
Mhm.
taking time for myself. And then the other thing I want to share is I learned to say no.
Now
You
that
know,
right there, the
I
transparent
couldn't.
moment. Oh,
Yeah.
that was me. Now that was me a
Mhm.
while back.
Yeah.
You have to learn to say no. No is
Yeah.
such a great word. When you were saying being transparent, I think through all of our journeys,
Yeah.
somewhere we got to a point where we understood it's okay to say no, not right now. So
Yeah.
that was me.
Yeah. And you know what, Carmela, I had to realize that my time is precious.
Right.
And it's the most one of the greatest resources that I have. And so, we're allowed to say no to doing things I don't feel like doing, or if I have limited a time. While it's important to sometimes, make sure that we're cultivating and being, our relationships and friendships, it's also important that we spend that time alone, because in that time alone, I'm getting myself up and getting myself, energized and being, going into that place of just being refreshed. It's
Yeah.
important to not say yes to everything. And I
Everything.
had to realize I don't have to say yes to anything. If any of you have experience out there, go ahead and make some comments if you've been in that place. All right. So I see some comments are coming in. Living in Faith every day says, I definitely felt guilty raising 5 children solo. I eventually learned why that was not healthy. I believe that the root was being taught take care of family above all else. Well,
Mhm.
that was never ending. Okay. Thank you for sharing that. Living in Faith every day. Thank you for sharing. That's very transparent. All right. I
Yes.
see. Crushing Chemo says, when we say no to others, we are saying yes to ourselves. Absolutely. And
Love
that's
it.
what I had to come to realize. I'm saying yes to myself. I'm
Mhm.
saying no. And sometimes for some people, sometimes it's a struggle to be able, to say no, and be able to go into that point of just saying, hey, I can't do it. Hey, I can't commit to everything. I can't go to everything I'm invited to. I need to take time for myself, for myself. For instance, it could be something that maybe acquire attention right then and there. Those types of situations are different. And so, I thank Patrick for sharing that top comment about blocking off time each week
Yeah.
for ourselves, which is very important. And I have found for myself, Carmela, and Tea Time listeners, that it has allowed me to become more refreshed. It allows me to disconnect. It allows me to be the best me that I can be. And so especially even if like I think a comment was someone said they had children, and sometimes in those types of environments where you're not alone, there may be a family, there may be children in a household, or just other people in a household. You have to be intentional about taking those, like someone said, those still away moments, to be intentional and say, this is my time that I'm going to block off. Did you have anything you wanted to add, Carmela?
I was thinking about what Patrick said earlier, and he said, close the door.
Mm-hmm.
And when he said just close the door, what that reminded me of is when we do our locate yourself practice. And the reason I'm saying that is sometimes there's so much noise. There's so much. And we, so much noise. We got maybe, we're online, we're looking at a lot of things going on. You may have the dryer going if you're at home. You got the dishwasher going, you got noise outside. There's just so much, the rushing around of the day. We hear the traffic, we hear so much people talking. And sometimes that shutting the door off just for a minute, just for that moment, to say, I just need that time for me, makes a big difference. And so I was just, as you were saying, you were talking, I was thinking about that statement about just the simple things of closing the door means just kind of getting still and being quiet and getting that moment where you're not hearing a whole lot of stimulation coming in from the outside.
Yes, and that's very good. I'm glad that you shared that even about that. And I even want to talk to those of us who work and those of us who have businesses
Mm,
and different things that we're doing. Sometimes we have to set boundaries with work.
that's
Okay.
good.
Sometimes we have to set boundaries with work. With that in mind, we have to set a realistic boundaries with those whom we work with or deal with, whether it's our business, whether it's
That's good.
our business or an employer. We have to have those boundaries set with that, and that brings the healthy work and life balance there for us when we have those boundaries. It's just, just limiting how long I'm going to stay. I'm not going to stay late tonight. I'm not going to, if it's not a requirement of my position, no. I will not be attending a meeting after a certain hours that you set. Now that depends on what type of work that you do. For me, I can't. I will not after this time. Please do not contact me. Different things like that. And it's healthy boundaries, not disrespectful, but it's the work boundaries that are there for us. So we want to make sure
Mhm.
that we're setting boundaries even with our work.
I
You
like
know, if you're a working parent, you want to tell them to ensure that your family's taken care of. Different things that you have to implement with the work life balance to get the much needed time alone.
yes.
You want to be able to do that. I see some comments that have come in. All right. See, Patrick has a comment. An idle mind is not the devil's workshop. Idle moments can be
Mm,
inspirational. Thank you
yes.
so much for sharing. That's true. It's
Hmm.
inspirational for me. All right, Patrick says nothing in our culture or education of children teaches us how to go inward. We are consistently pulled outside of ourselves by other people, by the media, by the demands of daily life. That's good. That is very good. It's just the constant, like you said, Carmela, the noise, the pulling. That's really good. All right. Patrick also says balance pace with periods of peace. That is very good. Thank you for sharing. Got some good comments coming in here. Living by faith. In faith, every day says, my wind down time each night includes a moment of stillness with no distractions. Thank
Hmm.
you so much for sharing. And as we're getting ready to come to a close, just want to say that we're talking about setting boundaries for work. We were talking about women's. This month is our health month for African
Yeah.
American women. We want to make sure that we even implement times of exercise as a routine, exercise and things like that. It's things that we can enjoy. It's a great way of spending time with myself as well. It improves my physical health and well-being, since we're talking about our mind, body, and soul, and holistically here. If we're, those things like that. Also, I found something as well. That I do not, Carmela, that I implemented, taking a solo lunch break.
Mm.
Even though I work at home, because see, I work
Yeah.
at home, so I had to implement something.
Oh,
But
yes.
sometimes when you're in environments where, even when I was not working at home, I would take times to have those lunch breaks by
Yes.
myself. I really appreciate it. A lot. Some people like to be, maybe around a lot of people. But for me, those solo lunch breaks after doing what I'm doing, I need that time to take those solo lunch breaks. Did you want to add anything, Carmela?
I like that. I like what you just said about the solo lunch break because not only does it removes you from your environment for a minute, and
Mm-hmm.
then you get a chance to just taste your food, which is so important. And that increases your mood, makes your mood better. You're ready and you're ready to be more productive. And that goes back to what you were talking about the awarenesses that we're talking about this month, African American Women's Physical Fitness Month, and then stress awareness. When we can just move away from our desk, the simple things, go somewhere, have a solo lunch, we come back, just
Mm-hmm.
revitalized. And we've
Yes,
added, we're poured back in. It's nothing like having a nice lunch that you can actually savor what you're eating. That's a simple thing on, making ourselves a priority. Just the
absolutely.
basics.
Yeah, absolutely. I see some comments come in here. Patrick says, my need to replenish and play is as important as my need to get through to the to-do list.
Mhm.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for sharing that. Thank you for your comments, everyone. Pamela says, whenever you give so much of yourself, it is so necessary to reboot, recharge ourselves for our mental, emotional, and spiritual selves. Allow yourselves the right for peace and
Yes,
tranquility.
Pam.
That's very good. Thank you so much, Pamela, for sharing that. All right, Patrick has a comment here and he says, you might be grown, but go to recess.
Yes.
That's a good one, Patrick. Thank you for sharing that. Thank you for sharing that. Living in faith every day says, when I still worked in an office, I always had lunch alone in my car. They knew not to ask me to spend lunch with the masses. All right. I've experienced that even on site, just having those moments where I needed it so I can continue on with the rest of the day. And so also I want to give a point, and this is something that I've recently added, is make a date with myself.
Mhm.
I make a date with myself. It is not with other people. I make it a point to mark off a time on my calendar where I make a date with myself. So and you can share, Pastor Mel. For me, my date with myself is I have a special diner that I go to,
Mhm.
and it's around the corner. It's a cafe. It's a Metro Cafe. I have two cafes I go to, and then I actually go to the gun range. Okay,
Okay.
which is across the street. Now that is my time that I have actually calendared in my calendar to do these things. Outside of getting my nails done or my feet, I'm talking about some intentional time. I've
Yeah.
also set that intentional time down for journaling,
Yeah.
and also I like to watch documentaries, biographies, and things. So those things that I have actually set aside for my time for my date. But my date is going to that diner, sitting down, treating
Mm.
myself to something
Yeah.
sweet, something good to eat, and then go across the street and do some training with firearms. But that is what I have penciled off and set a date for myself, and I really enjoy that. You
Like
want to
that.
share anything, Carmela?
Oh, I love that. I love that, doing that date night or date day or date afternoon, whatever it is. Mine used to really consist on Friday evenings or Saturday and going to the farmer's market, getting out and sometimes getting dressed up and go to the symphony or taking in a play, those type of things. And even if, whatever suits you, there used to be a place, before COVID. Now I'm getting back into the swing of things, but there used to be a place that I love tea, and they always had high tea, and I would go and have tea
Mm,
every now and then. And that was my time to dress up and go and enjoy my moment. And sometimes it's okay, sometimes
yeah,
it's okay to find something that you like, because some people like to golf and they set that
yeah.
day to go golfing or whatever it is, that gardening or whatever it
Mhm.
is that that really brings life and vitality into your life, something you
Yes,
like to.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing. So we're going to wrap up and ending this. Even with what I was saying, take yourself on a date. Sometimes my date would be absolutely doing nothing.
Mhm.
Um, I didn't have to be productive. I don't always have to be doing something all the time. And while, planning the dates and planning to go here to experience
Yeah.
sometimes shopping or things like that, or just the moments of just sitting, doing nothing means, just staying, just sometimes I don't have the TV for on. I don't have the screens on. I turn the social media off. I give myself and allow myself to have moments. I make myself a cup of tea, like you said. And sometimes I make that tea, I just sit back and I just, take those deep breaths and allow myself to allow myself and everything to calm and bring
Yeah.
that peace. And so that is very good for us. So we thank you all for joining us, and I hope that we've shared something. If you can give us some takeaways from what you have received today about the importance of making yourself a priority, making yourself a priority. Give us some takeaways from what I see. Some comments that's coming in here. Living in Faith Every Day says, this time last year, I implemented 1 day a week to do something for me. I like $5 movie day at the
Oh,
theater. The theater is usually pretty empty. I do lunch or dinner alone a lot. All right, very good. Thank you so much for sharing that.
yeah.
Pamela says here, I did a three days last week and I enjoyed myself. Enjoy nature. Very good. Nature is it's something about just taking those walks and
Yes.
it's really good. Crushing Chemo says, yes, Apostle Hope, I date me weekly. I also schedule weekend trips to just return this past weekend. Absolutely. That is nice. Now that is above all is my vacation time. And when I do vacations, I do a pretty extensive week or two. I haven't done it since pre-COVID, but a week or two, if I can, of just that time of just spending time with me. When I come back, I feel so refreshed. So we want to leave you with this: making yourself a priority. All right, making yourself a priority. Thank you all for your feedback. Thank you all for your engagement. This has been absolutely wonderful. Being that this is a stress awareness month, we want to make sure that we implement these things because they cultivate a good, versus those negative stresses. This is a way to keep positive stresses by making myself a priority, making my mental state a priority, my soul and my spirit, my mind, everything is a priority so that I can be able to function and be able to deal with, even like what Patrick said, they're always inner pulling and pulling and pulling, even our children. And he mentioned that even the children, that we're not taught to this, just the inner self. Everything is just pulling. And so we want to leave you with that, making yourself a priority here today on Tea Time Tuesday. Please don't go anywhere. We have a few announcements that we would like for you to hear and be able to engage with us in. We also want to let you know that today is our Giving Tuesday, and I'll go ahead, Carmela, and let you take it from here.
Okay. And we want to thank everyone for joining us today for Tea Time Tuesday. And as Hope has said, today is Giving Tuesday. This is a great opportunity for you to give back into the Renewal Center to support the Renewal Center with a lot of the different things that we love to bring, which is Tea Time Tuesday, our grief recovery. We have a lot of things that are going on at the Renewal Center, and you can participate in this. And so we're going to share different ways that you can give here to the Renewal Center with our tenants. You can give to the Renewal Center at www.therenewalcenters.com/give. That is our website. So you can go there. If you're used to texting to give, there's an option there on the screen and the number. And then if you got PayPal and you got Cash App, these are some options right here on the screen. And we'll probably show these again at the very end, and you can come back and find that way to give. You can also give through the Zelle option, the Venmo option here. And then if you like to mail a check, you can send it to our P.O. Box. And I'll tell you what that is. P.O. Box 1381, Concord, North Carolina, 28026. So once again, this is a great opportunity to give back to the Renewal Center and all of the endeavors and the programmings that we're striving to bring reformation to our community and our culture. Our tenants are revealing Christ, renewing minds, restoring lives, and reforming culture. And you can be a part of that through the giving options here on the screen. And don't forget that little phone on there. You can download the mobile app. That's one of the best things to do. Download the mobile app. Hope, she sends out messages all the time on Monday afternoon messages, motivational messages. You can contact us for our blog. Our messages are on there. Tea Time Tuesday directing you to YouTube. Everything is there. And most importantly, there's an option on there to give. So you cannot miss out with all these different options with our Giving Tuesday.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for joining us. The app is great. And to mention the app while we're speaking about the app, on the app, you can find located this year's fourth annual prophetic gathering, our fourth annual Carolina prophetic gathering. Okay, if you have not registered, registration is still
Yes.
open from April the 27th through the 29th. You don't want to miss this.
No, you
If you
don't.
cannot attend for some reason, a schedule conflict, please consider sponsoring someone, or please consider sowing a seed into this as we continue to move forward. That we may move forward in excellence this year for the Fourth Carolina Prophetic Gathering. We have some phenomenal speakers and facilitators that will be here for this day. As we see, we have our very own Pastor Carmela, who will be there as well as myself, and these great, phenomenal other speakers, other great, powerful gifts to the body of Christ who will
Yes.
be there. Okay. And so this is going to be a great time. We want you all to join us for this time of the prophetic gathering. Our information is located on our mobile app as well. So you can go to our mobile app and actually download, register from the mobile app. You can actually register from the mobile app. This is on Eventbrite. Going to go ahead and share. Patrick has gone ahead and put the app information up if you would like to register for the prophetic gathering. Remember, if you can't come, you can sponsor someone, or you can sow a seed to sponsor someone that will be able to come, that would like to come as well. We invite you all to attend this great, phenomenal fourth. This is our fourth one,
Yes.
Fourth Carolina Prophetic Gathering. We
Yes.
thank God for Pastor Carmela, who has spoken at everyone since the inception, since the beginning. A
Thank you.
phenomenal speaker and teacher, and many of our other facilitators who are great speakers as well. So this is the information here if you would like to register for this time to come. This is not going to be Hamburg. This is going to be actually in location. We're going to be face to
Yes.
face in fellowship at the Harvest Center located in Charlotte, North Carolina. This is going to be great. So there's the information for you if you are ready to attend. I see someone says registered and ready. All right. Thank you. Great. We have someone who's registered and ready. We have people that register. Remember, registration is still open and made available to you to register. And I'll put that link up here for you so that you all can take a look at this link and know that we are ready for the annual prophetic gathering. That's going to be, this is the fourth one. We want to thank you all for attending and coming on Tea Time Tuesdays. Our community is very important to us. Our community of our tea timers, where we pause, reset, and build resilience. If this is your first time joining us, we want to thank you for joining us here on Tea Time. Please make sure to consider to give. We'll leave that information up for you to consider to be a giver or partner with the Renewal Center, as Carmela had mentioned earlier. Thank you all for attending Tea Time. Carmela, is there any last words or anything you want to say?
I really enjoyed all the renewal practices today, Hope. I enjoyed all that you brought to us, in Stress Awareness Month. And thank you to all our tea timers in our community out there. Thank you so much.
Thank you all. Remember, I am Renewal, and take care of each other. Have a great day, everyone.